not want to go near that mob. I hate people. All people.
You remember that moment when the room went silent and the only sound was that gentle drum beat. Pa-rum-pum-pum-pum. You were sitting on the floor in front of an old television set, and something about that little boy with sad eyes made your heart ache in a way you could not explain. You were just a child yourself, but somehow you understood pain and hope and love all at once. We grew up with the little drummer boy. It was not just a Christmas special. It was a feeling. It was the smell of pine trees and the warmth of blankets and the soft glow of holiday lights reflecting off the screen. It was your mother humming along to the song while wrapping presents. It was the quiet moment right before bedtime when the world felt both sad and beautiful at the same time. But the story behind what we saw is way stranger than we realized. The secrets hidden inside this 1968 classic will change the way you see it forever. Some of these facts will surprise you. Others will break your heart all over again. Before we dive into video, please subscribe to our channel. Here are 20 weird facts about the little drummer boy that you probably never knew. And trust me when I say this. The last one flips everything you thought you knew about this childhood classic. It will make you want to watch it again immediately. Fact 1. The song was written during World War II before the special ever existed. The song itself was born in a time of darkness. Catherine Kennicott Davis wrote the original melody in 1941 while the world was falling apart. Bombs were dropping across Europe, families were being torn apart, cities were burning and children were losing their parents, and the future felt uncertain and terrifying. And somewhere in America, a woman sat down at her piano and wrote a song about a boy with nothing to give but his talent. She called it Carol of the Drum. The name Little Drummer Boy came later. But the emotion in that song was shaped by war and loss, and the desperate hope that something pure could still exist in a broken world. Catherine never saw the television special. She passed away in 1980, but her melody became immortal. Every time you hear that drum beat, you are hearing the heartbeat of someone who lived through one of history's darkest moments and still chose to create beauty. Fact 2. The Trapp family singers made it famous. You know the Trapp family from The Sound of Music. The real family that inspired the film. That same family of singers recorded Carol of the Drum in 1951 and introduced it to the world. Their version was soft and haunting, and it slowly spread across America like a gentle snowfall. Without them, the song might have been forgotten. Without them, there would be no television special. No little puppet boy with tears in his eyes. The Trapp family carried this melody out of obscurity and into our living rooms. They understood what it meant to lose everything and start over. They were refugees themselves. And when they sang about a poor boy offering his only gift, their voices carried the weight of real experience. That is why the song resonated. That is why it survived. Fact 3. Rankin Bass created it with Japanese animators. The special was produced by Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass, the same team that gave us Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman. But here is the strange part. The animation was not done in America, not even close. The puppets were built and filmed in Japan by a company called Mom Productions. Tiny figures made of wood and fabric were moved frame by hand in a studio thousands of miles away from the writers and directors. Thousands of adjustments for every minute of footage. The magic you saw on screen was created on the other side of the world by artists you never knew existed. Artists who may not have even celebrated Christmas themselves, but who poured their hearts into bringing this story to life. They worked in silence, they worked in patience, and they created something that would touch hearts in a country they had never visited. Fact 4. The animation style was called animagic. Rankin Bass did not call their technique stop motion, they called it animagic. It was their signature style, and it gave their specials a warm and slightly eerie quality that regular cartoons could never achieve. There was something about the way the puppets moved that felt almost alive. Almost real. Every puppet had real fabric clothing, real glass eyes, real tiny fingers that had to be repositioned for every single shot. When the drummer boy lifted his sticks to play, you were watching hours of painstaking work compressed into seconds of screen time. Each blink of an eye was deliberate. Each tilt of the head was planned. Nothing happened by accident. Everything you saw was the result of human hands carefully creating the illusion of life. Fact 5. The special added a dark backstory. The original song never mentions how the drummer boy became poor. It never explains his sadness. It just tells us he has no gift to bring, and so he plays his drum. But the television special went dark, very dark. In the opening scenes, we see young Aaron living happily with his parents on a small farm. The sun is shining, there is laughter, there is love, and then everything is destroyed in minutes. Bandits attack without warning. His home is burned to the ground. His mother and father are killed right in front of him. He is left alone in the world with nothing but his drum and a hatred for all humanity. For a children's Christmas special, this was devastatingly heavy. And that is exactly why it worked. It made the ending feel earned. You cannot appreciate redemption unless you understand what someone is being redeemed from. Fact 6. Greer Garson was the narrator. The warm voice guiding you through the story belonged to Greer Garson. She was a legendary Hollywood actress who had won an Academy Award and starred in some of the biggest films of her era. She was a name everyone recognized, a voice everyone trusted. Having her narrate this little stop-motion special gave it a weight and prestige that elevated it beyond typical holiday programming. Her voice felt like a grandmother telling you a bedtime story, safe and wise and full of love. She did not talk down to the audience, she spoke to them as equals. And when she described the pain in Aaron's heart, you heard the pain in her voice too. She understood the story she was telling, and she made sure you felt every word. Fact 7. The drummer boy was voiced by a real child. The voice of Aaron came from a young boy named Ted Eccles, whose performance captured real pain and real innocence. There was no adult actor pretending to be a child. The trembling voice you heard was authentic. The anger was real. The sadness was real. When Aaron speaks about hating the world, you believe him. When he yells at the people around him, you feel his frustration. When he finally softens and plays for the baby Jesus, you feel the change in his soul. That is the power of casting a real child in a role that demanded genuine emotion. Ted brought something to the character that no adult could have faked. He brought vulnerability, and that vulnerability is what made millions of viewers cry. Fact 8. It was only 25 minutes long. The entire special runs just 25 minutes including commercials. That is shorter than a single episode of most modern cartoons. You could watch it twice in the time it takes to watch one Marvel movie, and yet it tells a complete story with more emotional depth than many feature-length films. Every second was used perfectly. No filler, no wasted moments, just pure concentrated storytelling. It proves that length does not equal impact. You do not need 2 hours to make someone feel something. Sometimes all you need is a drum beat and a broken heart and 25 minutes of honesty. Fact 9. Aaron had 3 animal friends. The drummer boy was not completely alone. He traveled with 3 loyal animals, a donkey named Baba, a camel named Joshua, and a lamb named Samson. These creatures became his family after his parents died. These animals were his only family after his real family was taken from him. They followed him everywhere. They trusted him even when he was filled with anger and bitterness. They did not judge him, they just loved him. And one of them would play a crucial role in the emotional climax of the story. The bond between Aaron and his animals was one of the purest relationships ever shown in a Christmas special. It reminded us that love does not always come from where we expect it. Fact 10. The lamb dies and gets resurrected. Here is where the special gets truly intense. During the journey to Bethlehem, Samson, the lamb is struck by a runaway cart in the crowded streets. The little creature lies motionless in the dirt, and Aaron believes he has lost everything that mattered to him. His parents are gone, and now his innocent lamb is gone too. But after Aaron swallows his pride and plays his drum for the newborn Jesus, a miracle happens. Light fills the stable, the baby smiles, and Samson opens his eyes. The lamb is brought back to life. It is a moment of pure magic that mirrors the deeper themes of faith and redemption that run through the entire story. Aaron learns that giving from the heart can heal even the deepest wounds. That love is stronger than death. That miracles still happen if you're willing to believe. Fact 11. The miracle scene was almost removed. Studio executives worried that showing a resurrection might be too religious for mainstream television. They debated removing the scene entirely and just having the lamb survive the accident with minor injuries. They thought the miracle was too heavy, too preachy, too much for a family audience, but the creators fought to keep it. Arthur Rankin and Jules Bass argued that without the miracle, the entire story falls apart. The drummer boy needs to see that love and faith can conquer death. That is the whole point of his journey. That is why he changes. Thankfully, they won that battle, and the scene remains one of the most powerful moments in Christmas television history. It is the heart of the special. Without it, nothing else would matter. Fact 12. The music was composed by Maury Laws. The haunting score that plays throughout the special was created by Maury Laws, who worked on nearly every Rankin Bass production. He understood how to blend music with emotion in ways that felt effortless and natural. He knew exactly when to let silence speak and when to let the orchestra swell, the way the drum beat builds during the final scene, the way the strings rise when the lamb awakens, the way the melody softens when Aaron finally smiles. These musical choices were not accidents. They were carefully crafted to make you feel something deep in your chest. Maury Laws never became a household name, but his music shaped the childhoods of millions. Every note he wrote was designed to break your heart and then put it back together again. Fact 13. It first aired on December 19, 1968. The premiere happened on NBC just days before Christmas. Families across America gathered around their television sets, not knowing what to expect. They thought they were sitting down to watch another cute holiday cartoon. What they got was something that would become a permanent part of their holiday traditions. That single broadcast started a legacy that would last for decades. Every year it returned. Every year a new generation discovered it. Parents who had watched it as children now sat with their own kids and experienced it all over again. The cycle continued, the story lived on, and that first broadcast in 1968 became a cultural moment that nobody who saw it ever forgot. Fact 14. It won an Emmy Award. The Little Drummer Boy was not just popular. It was critically acclaimed. The special won an Emmy for Outstanding Children's Program, proving that quality storytelling transcends format and budget. A tiny stop-motion production made in Japan beat out big-budget competition and earned recognition from the television industry. That award validated everything the creators had worked for. It proved that audiences and critics alike could recognize genuine artistry when they saw it. The Emmy sits somewhere in a vault now, but the real prize was the impact the special had on viewers. Awards fade, but the memory of watching this story for the first time never does. Fact 15. Each puppet took weeks to build. The animators in Japan did not rush their work. Every puppet was handcrafted with incredible attention to detail. The drummer boy alone took several weeks to complete from start to finish. His face had to convey sadness and anger and eventually peace. His hands had to be able to grip the drumsticks naturally. His clothing had to move realistically. Nothing was left to chance. Even the animals required precise construction. Baba the donkey needed joints that allowed for natural movement. Joshua the camel had to look majestic but gentle. Samson the lamb needed to appear soft and fragile. Every character was built with love. You can see that love in every frame. Fact 16. 1 minute of animation took 1 full day. Stop motion is painfully slow work. For every minute you see on screen, the animator spent an entire day moving puppets and taking photographs. Sometimes even longer if the scene was particularly complex. That means the 25-minute special required months of constant effort, frame by frame, movement by movement, all done without computers or shortcuts. Just human hands creating magic, one photograph at a time. The patience required for this kind of work is almost unimaginable. And yet they did it because they believed in the story. They believed it mattered. Fact 17. A sequel was made 8 years later in 1976. Rankin Bass produced The Little Drummer Boy book II. It continued Aaron's story as he tried to protect a set of silver bells that were given as a gift to the Christ child. The sequel is less well-known but equally emotional and beautifully animated. It proves that the creators believed in this character and wanted to explore his journey further. Aaron had grown. He was no longer filled with hatred. He had learned to love again, and the sequel showed what happens when a healed heart faces new challenges. Not many people have seen it, but those who have considered it a hidden gem. Fact 18. The special changed Christmas television forever. Before The Little Drummer Boy, most holiday specials were light and comedic. They focused on fun and laughter and presence. Rankin Bass proved that audiences would embrace emotional depth and darker themes during the Christmas season. They showed that you could deal with grief and loss and redemption and still create something appropriate for families. This opened the door for future specials to take creative risks. It paved the way for stories that had weight and meaning. The bittersweet beauty of this production showed networks that children could handle complex stories, that they could understand sadness and hope at the same time. Fact 19. It still airs every single year. Over 50 years after its premiere, the little drummer boy continues to appear on television during the holiday season. New generations discover it just like their parents and grandparents did. It has never gone away. It has never been forgotten. Very few programs have that kind of staying power. Most shows fade after a few years. But this one remains because the themes of loss and redemption and the healing power of giving are timeless. They will always matter. They will always resonate. As long as people understand what it feels like to lose something precious, this story will continue to speak to them. Fact 20. The final smile was the hardest shot to animate. At the very end of the special, after playing his drum for the baby Jesus, the drummer boy smiles. It is a small, subtle expression that lasts only a second or two. But it took the animators countless attempts to get it right. They tried different angles, different puppet faces, different lighting. The smile had to feel earned. It had to show transformation without words. It could not look forced or fake. It had to be the smile of a boy who finally found peace after years of pain. In that one tiny movement of a puppet face, you see an entire character arc completed. Pain becoming peace, hatred becoming love, loneliness becoming belonging. And when you see it, you feel it too. Your own heart lifts just a little. That is the real magic. That is why this special has survived for over 5 decades.